So I'm going to call the meeting of the Littleton Historical Commission to order Wednesday, July 9th. I think we'll do the two internal administrative items first that are on the agenda. One, I wanted to talk about the new commission, new prospective upcoming commission members. They're not appointed yet. We have two. One of us is here, Chris Dalen. Yay. You submitted your application, right?
Yep.
And my understanding is that Chris will be appointed by the select board on July 14th, which is their next select board meeting. How do I know this is on?
It's got a little green light on it.
It's not, should I press it? Think it's on it. I don't know.
It's on.
I think it's on. I think it's on. All right. And then.
No, that's different.
Oh, God. All right. Yes?
Well, wait a minute, it's recording through that.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Yeah.
And also, we also have another upcoming member, Elizabeth Mubarak. And she also will be appointed, I believe, July 14th. And she couldn't make it to this meeting. She was going to come, but she had other previous plans, so she'll be at our next meetings. And then it's a new fiscal year, so we should make appointments. Is that what they're called? Appointments, I guess, to different positions or offices or whatever they're called. What are they called?
Officers?
Officers, is that what they're called? I don't know. So, do we have a nomination?
I nominate Linda Stein for chair of the Littleton Historical Commission.
I second that nomination.
All in favor?
Well, you have to ask if there are any other nominations.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any other nominations?
Sorry.
No, that's good. But I guess not. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Okay, can I make a nomination?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to nominate Andrew Watt to be vice chair. Do I have a second?
Second, I don't know if we require seconds, but I'll second it.
Are you willing?
Sure.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? All in favor of Andrew Watt being the vice chair? Aye. Nays? No. Great.
Was Andrew Samarco previously?
He was, Andrew Smarka was previously, yes. Does anyone want to make a nomination for clerk? Is that what it's called?
I nominate Rachel as our clerk.
Someone else do it.
One more time. How about on a temporary basis until either Elizabeth or Chris get oriented?
Yeah, we gotta convince Chris to go through with it next week.
Yeah, right.
That reaction.
It's gonna be fun. It's a good time.
He knows better.
Right.
Do I have a second?
Well, yeah, I second.
Rachel, are you willing?
I mean,
I know you're busy, I know, but we're kind of desperate at the moment.
yeah, until somebody else.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any other nominations I forgot to ask? No.
I was gonna say, I mean, she does an excellent job.
I do not. I have actually submitted the minutes in years to the town. Years.
We're being recorded.
You know what? I don't want to be. I'm so
Okay,
bad.
so we are appointing, everyone voted yes, right? All in
Yes.
favor, yes. We're appointing Rachel to be the interim clerk or whatever. What is that what it's called? Whatever.
Interim clerk.
Until such time as we can get someone else to take over the job. Rachel's been doing it for a long time and she's busy. She's just got a new job.
Request, I mean, you guys
Yes.
have a budget, can't you request, if you have to have them recorded unless someone's willing to come. I think there used to be, like Marilyn Fidel used to
Yeah.
do them, and she does them for a couple of them, we can have someone just be a minute taker.
And we have to pay for that?
Think so, I'm not really sure how it works.
Okay, I'll look into that. That would be
That's
good.
Diane.
Can we like just pass it through like AI now, pass it recorded through AI now?
I think they're looking into
Yeah.
doing that.
I think that's a great idea. Just put on transcribe.
And then God knows what AI will say.
I know. Yeah, that's, I
It's not always accurate.
No,
You need a technical editor.
Yeah, right. All right, I will look into that. That's a good idea. All right. So that's all the officers, right? That's it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. There's a couple of items on, for 12 Robinson Road, which is on the agenda. I think the first thing we should resolve is the text and design for the house sign. I know we talked about it at last meeting, but then I got confused what we were doing, what text we were using. So Macris says Benjamin Kimball and Mary Brown House, and we agreed to circa 1750 to 1780. But the preservation restriction only says Benjamin Kimball House, not Mary Brown. So what do we want it to say?
Who were they? Who were they?
Mary Brown got married to Benjamin Kimball.
Oh.
She was his wife.
Is there any reason not to say Mary and Benjamin Kimball?
She's called Mary Brown in the historical narratives.
Oh,
I think for the house sign, I don't necessarily think it has to match the deed, so I would be fine with it as proposed as Mary Brown and Benjamin Kimball.
Well, Benjamin Kimball and Mary Brown. Do other people have preferences for whether we include her name or not? I really don't have a preference.
I mean, it'd be good to recognize her. She was there too. She, when we made the house. If at home. So, sorry, she was Nay Brown? Should we like?
I'm gonna read it to you. I'm gonna call up Macris and I guess, yeah, Macris.
Yeah, was she there first and then?
I don't think she was there first. Do you know, Carolyn?
I don't.
I don't think so, but, let me see what I have here. The only issue for Chris, if Chris is making a sign, right?
Yeah,
That would make more wording for you, right? If we include her name and Mary Brown.
yeah, I don't mind that, I just gotta fit it all in there.
Well, that's the issue. Can you?
I don't see why not, it's
Just have to make everything smaller.
Yeah.
All right.
it's just seeing it from the road, you might not be able to see it as well, but.
Right. Hang on. Sorry, I have to go one more place. All right. All right. So in Macris, as I said, it says Benjamin Kimball and Mary Brown House. Let me see where else she's talked about. In 1810, Benjamin Kimball married Mary Brown of Tewksbury and a few months later purchased the 6 acres, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, then it talks about a later woman named Brown, but that's not the original, so. That's all it says about Mary Brown, I think.
So. We could just say, I mean, assuming she became Mary Kimball, Benjamin and Mary.
Yeah, I would think so,
Name
but
Brown.
I don't, yeah, that's a good, you would think so. I don't know if that's in
I feel like
here.
it was rare that women kept their.
Right, it was
name.
rare. I would certainly agree with that. There's nothing in here that, oh, there is one, Mary Kimball. Benjamin and Mary Kimball residence. I never saw that before. How about should we call it that?
I think that's a good compromise.
Should we call it the Benjamin Mary Kimball house or residence? House?
Oh,
Yeah,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Benjamin and Mary Kimball house. Got that?
Yep.
Okay,
That's good. It cuts down the words.
exactly. Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that because I didn't notice it anywhere in here before. Circa 1750 to 1780, and then also on the sign is Littleton Historical Commission.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we agreed, everyone agreed on the text.
Okay,
Good.
so, sorry, the Benjamin and Mary Kimball House circa, what was
1750 to 1780. And then Littleton Historical Commission. Did we look at Chris's designs at our last meeting? Do you have them with you or no?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah, let's take a look, just so we finalize this.
There are like just two ways. I mean, one is with the, Benjamin and small.
Yeah,
And one is with them all
right.
the same.
And this looks like the other house signs, basically, is this?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. What? Yeah, I'm not gonna pass it around. So,
And I don't think you need the circa if it's 2 dates. Cause you really, if it's,
Yeah, I think we discussed this at
Oh.
some lengths.
Yeah.
And if we were gonna have the 2 dates,
okay,
we would not say
okay,
circa.
okay,
If we were gonna have just 1 date, we would.
fine.
no, I thought we said,
Oh.
agreed on circa,
Oh,
let's see.
If anybody wants to,
I mean, technically Circa is correct because we're not sure. The dendrochronology study didn't definitively say 1750 or 7 to
How about a
17.
small C period in front of the 1750?
doable.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, just to see.
Would that be okay with you, Jonathan?
okay with me, yeah.
Is that okay? Just add a small c, okay, okay, because that is more accurate.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Um,
like the smaller Benjamin,
yeah,
because if we're gonna say Benjamin and Mary, I'd say we do
Fit up there.
I
it all
agree,
fit up there.
I agree with you, think.
Yes, yes, I think it's better to have
Smaller.
it smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rich
Rachel's the
designer.
visual designer.
Yeah, I like the
Small one.
Benjamin and Mary.
Okay, okay,
That'll be us.
we're all set. I hope I never have to do this up again. It was my fault, I think, that I didn't get all the last things we agreed
Oh,
on.
it's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so we're done with that, that's great. Then the other thing is, as I sent out to you, was a letter to the homeowners and the homeowners association, the new owners of 12 Robinson, the house and the barn, the historic house and barn.
So it's all sold now, right?
That's my understanding,
Yes,
yes.
there's no sign up, there's
Right.
no for sale sign up
I
there.
believe it's all,
They sold the main house?
I believe so, the house and the
That was
barn.
for a little bit longer. than-
Yeah, that took long. I looked on the assessor's property information records, but it wasn't in there yet, so I'm planning to go to the assessor's office and try to get that information. So I sent out a letter. Jonathan sent some good edits. Does anyone else have edits on the letter? Or any thoughts about it? Do you want me to give you a copy?
I have it right.
Want a copy first?
I have it.
All right.
I sent a copy to everybody. I just did it before, shortly before the meeting, though, so I didn't believe it if you didn't see it.
Yeah, I can just give you his edits, or I can show them to you. They're great.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, Jonathan's, you had to get a verification code from University of Lowell to, in order to.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
Here, you can just look at it.
Okay.
You want,
So I think the very top where it says hello,
hello?
I don't think you need
I
that.
don't think I have a hello. Maybe you're looking.
There is, it says
Right.
hello, 12 Robinson Road, historic.
Oh, yes, take that off
You don't
completely.
need that, because you already addressed it at the top.
Just take hello off, or,
Or what you could do is say something like residents of 12 Robinson Road, like,
No, I think you have the two that, and then just like a more of like a welcome to Littleton exclamation part,
yes,
exclamation point, kind of like have that be the top, like, welcome,
right,
So take off that whole line?
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
And
then
then the
have-
formal letter, you don't actually have a salutation of greet in a formal letter.
okay, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Then you go right for the legal matter.
But I would say, welcome to Littleton, I mean,
Yes.
I like an exclamation point, but, you know, not everyone's for that, but,
Well, it's at the end of the sentence. If you look,
yeah, I
She
think,
wants an extra, she
I
wants
think
one
it's-
before the comma,
I would say take out, I would say, welcome to Littleton exclamation point. And then,
comma, if you are new to town.
no, not
go
comma,
ahead.
that's one sentence, welcome to Littleton, period, you know, exclamation point. If you are new to town,
Ah,
oh shoot, no, that doesn't work, you're right.
Jonathan
Um,
suggested taking out if you're new to town.
Yeah,
Just welcome to
like,
Littleton.
welcome to
Yeah.
Littleton.
Yeah, it's extra, doesn't, it's not necessary really, and
Just welcome to
welcome-
Littleton. I
welcome
don't-
to Littleton, I
And
think.
take out to your new homes.
I like the new homes too, so let's not fight over it.
yeah,
Let's
Okay,
decide.
I would say welcome to Littleton and to your new homes. Maybe, yeah, take out the if you are new to town.
mhm.
Right, an exclamation point at the end of the sentence like it
Yes.
is.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, keep going.
And then I get rid of as you likely know.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Actually, that's, yes, you're right.
I would say something to the effect of the property, comes,
I do think there needs to be a lead into a perpetual, like, maybe not as you likely know, but.
He's saying,
Sorry,
no, he was saying the property includes or something, a perpetual,
yes,
what would we say?
I would say, all right, move up an explanation of who we are. The Littleton Historical Commission has responsibility. of
yes,
Move that
what
up?
we do, and then say, you know, this house falls into that, or this property,
yes.
you know,
This letter is to serve you as notice
yeah.
that the property has a perpetual.
No, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's too,
I want it to
legally,
be welcoming
Right.
and friendly, you know,
Right.
not give them legal notice that we're likely to be after them for something. Which we may well be, but we don't wanna start with that.
No, I understand that we do, it's a fine line to navigate, I agree. Obviously, this is a legal
Yeah,
lever, so you do have to be conscious of that. I think there are ways to be friendly within it. Welcome to Littleton, exclamation point. You know, that's us being friendly. And then, but I think there has to be an explanation of like who the commission is, what we do.
before you talk about the PR,
I think so. I
because they don't care, I mean,
No, I think
I
the
think we
historic preservation restriction comes next,
I
and
do.
then the Littleton Commission being who enforces it.
I agree.
I think the way you have it there is fine. I would just leave it in from the time I was a little tyke, I was told to get rid of stuff, get rid of extraneous material, make it brief.
Yeah, so we'll take out as you likely know, but, and if you wanted something at the beginning of that sentence, let's figure out what it is, but I agree. I think we talked about the PR in that next sentence first, and then say that we enforce it.
Yeah,
So, do you want to change that second sentence at all? Or we could just start it with a perpetual historic preservation restriction has been placed on the 12 Robinson Historic House, or,
yeah, somehow I don't like that because it's passive, but
yeah, I had it
I
originally,
couldn't figure out a
yeah,
better way to put that.
So I think what's important though is our restriction, so we didn't get the land, so our restriction.
correct. Well, that's what it says.
Mhm.
Says
Yeah, but you're sending it. to
on the
all
house and
homeowners.
barn.
No, only to those two homeowners.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not the other
Oh, I
homeowners,
thought you
just
were
those
sending it
two.
to every-
Do they? Okay.
Homeowners Association, as well as the two homeowners.
But isn't the homeowner association this group of owners?
I don't know, I have to find that
I
out.
think it is the group. of
Yes.
You do?
I believe.
Yes.
So it's all four.
I would send it to the homeowners association. And then just specify in there that it's 12 Robinson Road, main structure and barn.
I mean, units 1 and 2, or, you know, be specific about which unit.
That's what I didn't know, and I have to I'll find that
Yeah.
out.
That's a good idea.
Not there.
Yes.
Yeah, whichever ones they are.
That's really good.
Okay, right, so even backing up to, to the, well, Robinson Road Homeowners Association. And then, so that's, you're saying that to them.
But it's, okay, let's back up for a minute. Are the back lots called 14? Is that a new address? I'll have to find that out. I don't know why I think that.
Do you know how he did the homeowners association?
You know,
Is there one or there are two?
I have no idea.
12 Robinson, all right, so 12 Robinson Road, Unit 2.
Pretty sure there's one association.
Yes, it is 14. It's 14.
So the back ones are 14.
14, 1 and 2, units 1 and 2.
So
14
this-
Robinson Road, 1 and 2.
So this is 12 Robinson Road, units 1 and 2. Is that
Yeah, but
correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
it is. It is for 12 Robinson Road, units 1 and 2.
Okay,
So that does bring up a good point, but I still think it being the homeowners association, it has to go to them because all of them
okay,
will have to know.
okay.
That's right.
That makes
But if
sense.
the president of the homeowners association is in 14A.
That's right.
Oh, yeah,
That's right.
got it.
Do we know
No, I have to find
that
out.
that there's just one homeowners association that includes all 4 units, or do we know that?
I don't know.
All right, so here, so let me just pull up the listing for 14A. It's because it should say if it's a HOA, right?
Listen, they're separate addresses, it could be
Right.
that they're actually.
It's true, there could be 2.
The condo, yeah, those condos, like, we're all sort of. Homeowners association, yes. So I doubt it's 2 homeowners associations for.
It
those
could
two.
be though. Can we find that out from the assessors? Oh, no, she might not know that.
It's on the listing for it that the properties at 14 are part of the, or are in an association. Which it would be crazy if they made 2 different associations for both.
Can I find this out from town council? Because I think after we go through this,
Number of units in the homeowners association is.
it says, so there's one,
There's one.
there's one. All right, by the way, I do want to run this by town council because this is, I think we have to.
It is a legal letter.
Exactly.
I know we want it to be friendly. but
Right.
it's a legal
Right,
letter.
okay, so I'm gonna run it by them first, and if they have changes, I'll come back to you.
I mean, you could ask if there is an official name for the
Mm.
association, like if it's. If they've got,
Okay,
my experience with HOAs is limited, but like assuming they have to have like an official title, right? They've got to have an official name.
Yeah.
So find out whatever that
Okay.
is, send it to them,
okay,
and then stipulate that the units at 12 Robinson Road, units 1 and 2 fall into this.
yes,
Mhm.
Um,
okay, yeah. So far, we've gotten through one sentence.
Yes, but it's a good rewritten sentence.
Welcome to Littleton and to your new homes. Then how do you want to start the second one? A perpetual historic preservation restriction.
I would say we are writing to you to inform you that there is, because again, if the people at 14, they're not gonna, why would they know that there's a.
Right,
That's true.
right.
We
Their
can't, we
deed-
certainly
their
can't
deed
assume that
doesn't
they
say
know,
it.
their deed doesn't say anything.
That's right. To inform you that, and then the rest of the sentence, right?
Yes.
You're right.
Okay, yep, that makes sense. Okay, then the last, I think we can probably keep that last sentence of that paragraph. The Littleton Historic Commission has the responsibility, unless you want to change something, of administering the data agreement or something like that, to ensure that its requirements for historic preservation are being met by the property owners, not property, by the
You're gonna say owners.
owners, yes, by the owners, right. Okay, then Jonathan, and I agree with him, took out the first sentence of the next paragraph, the whole sentence. So I won't attach the restriction. I don't think I need to. I think that's.
Well, I
Is
put,
it part of their?
to do that,
They should have it.
to get around that, I just
Yeah.
put in the
Well,
in the
again,
first sentence where it says, or second sentence, perpetual historic preservation restriction. And then I put C.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
So,
Do you guys think that we should send it to them?
Yes,
yes,
Okay,
I feel like you can never be too
Yeah.
confident that people have
Okay.
seen
it
that.
removes all ambiguity.
no, that's right, because they might not know where it is. They might
Again,
not-
if the people in 14, if they're
Right,
they won't have it as part of their deed, so
Yeah.
Right.
they should have.
And what
Okay.
you're really sending it for is so that if there's a violation, you can say, here's a copy of the certification that we got when we mailed it to you, that you signed for this letter, and it was attached to this letter, therefore you were delivered notice.
Yes, okay, no, that totally makes sense.
I don't think that's even necessary, but legally, I think that's not necessary
Right.
because it's part of the deed. And as part of the deed,
I could ask town
they're
council.
required to, I mean,
Yeah.
whether they read it or not, it's.
Right.
It's
I
binding.
think it never hurts to.
No, I agree, it
You know,
never hurts to send.
And
it,
again,
but
or if the
Legally,
people
I'll-
that are, if the people that are running the HOA are in the two properties of 14, they
Right,
need to be able to see it.
yeah. No, you're right. All right, we'll include
It's
it.
not
It's
not
fine.
a secret, secure.
No, no.
You know,
That's fine. We'll do that. We'll include it. So in the second paragraph, we've gotten rid of the first sentence because C attachment is now in the first paragraph. Jonathan also got rid of the second sentence, which is, I agree. Below is a brief list of some upcoming activities related, because we don't need that. You can just go on to the last sentence of that paragraph. The LHC is planning the following activities to highlight your home's historic character. And
That was something that I added.
oh, you did? Oh,
I
great.
added that to
Oh.
take the place of the other one, because I thought it was more active.
It's fine, right?
I like the sort of.
So what he added again, because you guys haven't seen his letter, the LHC is planning the following activities to highlight your home's historic character. All right? And then under the first bullet, he took out the LHC is currently, and now he says, we're producing a house sign for placement on the main house. Oh, and the barn.
Okay, that was.
Yeah.
I didn't change that.
Yeah, and the barn. Oh, so I didn't include that. Okay. We're producing oh, no, I'm sorry. It isn't, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the PR. The sign's just going on the house.
Just one
We're
sign.
producing a house sign for placement on the main house as specified in the PR, see section 3.4. We would like to install this sign in the near future, possibly this summer. We are happy to show you the sign before installation. Please let us know if you would like to see it. Does that sound okay?
Well, okay, so
are you
let me
gonna
just ask.
change?
No,
Right.
no,
Right, so-
I think
right.
that gives them.
So I'll take that
makes them
out.
Feel some agency and then they don't have agency.
All right, so I'll take that. No, they don't. We would like to install the sign near future, possibly this summer. And then just leave it like that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
let
then,
me say this, the house sign will look identical to other house signs placed on historic properties.
If
It's
you're
too much.
curious, look at other, yeah,
Just lets them know what they're getting.
but again, they don't
All
have
right.
a choice. in
I'll
that.
say, right,
Small,
huh?
but small, so they don't think it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What's the dimensions? Do you remember?
Like 12 by 16.
12 by 16, I think, was what we've always done, and I think we discussed that.
That's very small.
Agreed to keep it.
So I think maybe you're right. We should say something at the end of that bullet. Something about sign will be the 12 by 16. And
How about small?
Just put a 12 by 16 sign.
yeah, right.
There you go.
12 by 16 sign, should we tell them what it's gonna say or the, no?
No.
Okay, all right, fine. Okay,
You
Right?
could say, a 12 by 16 sign, I don't wanna say explaining, but,
highlighting,
highlighting the significance of the house is. will be-
highlighting the historical significance of the house,
There you
yes?
go.
Okay, next bullet. Jonathan took out the LHC and said weed, and took out could or whatever. We'd like to arrange a meeting with the property owners of the historic house and barn, or should I just say the HOA?
Yes,
Just the HOA?
yes.
Again, I don't know how big HOAs tend, like if it's a 4-unit.
It's only
HOA,
4
like,
inches long,
I don't
so,
know how many people are on the HOA, but
right, they could
Um,
have other members, I don't know how that works.
No, they're only gonna be the four of them.
So should we,
would it be a representative from each property? Like, I don't know how these things work, but. Cause could someone potentially live in the barn and not be on the HOA at all?
should I leave it the way it is,
I
just
think,
to
yeah.
cover us?
Yeah.
Okay,
We really wanna get, I mean, we do absolutely want to get the HOA people in, of course, but we also, I think our main priority is the
Right.
people that live in the
Right.
property.
okay,
Well, let me ask you this, like, why do you wanna meet with them?
okay, I've talked to Shanti about this, and so we wanna let them know upfront, like now, what's in the preservation restriction, explain to them what it means. Because if they don't know, then they could go ahead and change things
Yes,
in the house
yes,
and say, oh, I didn't know.
Mhm.
So
yes.
that's what we want to do up
We have
front.
the right then to sue them and so on.
Yeah, but what, yeah, we'd rather-
But also, I mean, are we going to be going into the property at all, or like stipulating?
Right, don't we have
We
that
also have
right,
right to go in to the
Yeah.
property if,
annual inspections?
well, that's in a year from now.
just so they, but again, making
So
sure
we
that those
tell
people
them
know.
when we
That
have a
we have
meeting.
the right to go
Yes.
into the property
That's
on an
right.
annual basis.
Should I tell them that here or
Yeah.
No.
explain that to them?
Explain that
With
to
that?
them.
No, I would say in the letter,
Yeah.
and then again, never underestimate how many times that people will not read or show up to, like, we need to be ultra clear, because if we show up and say, I didn't know, then we can say, well, we have it in writing,
Right,
and, you know, if it's just, oh, well, we told you at the meeting, well, I wasn't able to be there,
Right.
like,
yeah,
you know,
okay,
have to be in
All
writing,
right.
like, make sure it's in writing.
all right. So I think I would put that maybe at the end of this paragraph, that we have
Well, aren't you gonna bullet the main highlights? Just put it as one of the bullets.
oh, as a third bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Very good. Yes, yes.
I mean, those are the main deliverables.
Those
right?
are the main, yes, those are the
Littleton
main.
Historic Commission has an obligation to
Right.
perform an annual inspection per the deed restriction to assure that the property historical significance has been maintained over the course of the previous year.
Yes. Yes,
I mean, it's like when the town, if you're gonna do work, you have to inform your neighbors by, you know, certified letter, like, it's, I don't think that's any different, we need to make sure that anything that would be disruptive to the owners, we put in writing.
Yeah, I think there's also
I think
something,
legally, we don't have to do that
Right, 'cause
because
it's in the
it's
PR.
in the deed restriction
for the PR, yeah.
already. So I agree with her, on the other hand, I think Rachel has a point,
Yeah,
and you know, you tell them
Yeah.
also.
no, I think we do say that. I agree.
right,
All right, so I'll add that bullet. All right, let's just go through the.
And again,
yeah.
I would always, when we're saying preservation restriction, we should say HPR.
But it wasn't called that. It's always called a PR.
It's not called the historic preservation
It's
restriction.
called a historic PR. That's the way I've always seen it. I've never seen the term HPR.
Okay, then
So
you're
historic
right and
PR.
I'm wrong.
yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Is Shanti coming to the meeting?
She will be at this meeting with
That's
them. Yes, yes,
That's
That would be
fantastic.
yes, yes. All right, let's read the language of this. We'd like, this is Jonathan's made a little edit. We'd like to arrange a meeting with the property owners of the historic house and barn and the HOA representatives to explain the preservation, protections, and responsibilities contained in the historic PR. Certain alterations require prior review and approval by the Littleton Historical Commission. Please let us know your availability in July or August for this informational meeting. Does that sound okay?
Are we meeting again in July and August, September?
No, not us. This would be, me and Shanti would go to,
Got it.
this is
Got
the
it.
informational.
They're not
meeting.
coming to the.
No, we would go
All right,
meet
all
with
right,
them
sorry, yep.
there. We would show them
Perfect.
what
Yes.
needs to be preserved.
Remind me, in the deed restriction, it says that, if something is in violation, they have to pay for it.
I have to read it, but, I have to read it.
I would make that a bullet. I would simply
Really?
say, yes, I would simply say that, as one of the reminders, right, that the HOA covers the expenses of, I forget exactly what it is, common area repairs or something. Because that was my really big concern about the whole thing in the first place, was that if you underfund the HOA,
I mean, it's a, well, again,
That's their problem.
475.
What I mean by that is the PR, the preservation requires them to, we think, cover it. And if they don't have enough money, they have to go find the money, don't they?
well, that's probably the case. But again, I think you want to make sure that you alert them to
Yeah.
that scenario
Okay.
early in
Okay.
ownership. So that if it develops as a problem in a few years, it's documented as having been delivered as such. You just need to pull the deed restriction
Okay.
in there somewhere.
All right, that makes sense, add that,
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
okay, as a bullet, all right. Okay, and then we're pretty much done, I will rewrite this and show it to you before I send it to the, town council's office. Then the last thing I assume is, okay, we truly hope you enjoy your new homes and look forward to collaborating with you to preserve their historic character. Feel free to contact us with any questions, all right? And then Shanti and I were planning to go, and anyone else who wants to go, obviously,
Yeah.
can go. You'll be on the commission by then, I think. So, okay. And just to give you briefly a little bit of a broader context, which you probably already know, but this informational meeting with the homeowners is in a bit of a broader context. We got CPC funding to hire Shanti, and this is what it says she was gonna do, and she's also agreeing to do this informational meeting. The consultant will assist the historical commission to ensure that the new owner understands and adheres to his or her responsibilities related to PR. That's, this meeting partially addresses that. She will also conduct a site inspection with the new owner and the historical commission. She will develop a template for annual historical commission inspection reports. And she will review with the historical commission how to conduct ongoing administration and enforcement of the PR. So she'll have some sort of template for that last item, so. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that into
No, that's all excellent.
broader context.
Yeah, that's very good.
Very good.
Okay, all right. Now. Okay. So, we don't have meeting minutes to, we didn't do
I
that.
didn't do that.
I don't really have member updates. Any other member updates?
Well, I have a member update. I don't know whether there's anything we should do about it. I'm a little disturbed that some higher levels people aren't doing more about it. But there's been a whole lot of discussion on the Mass Historical Commission discussion list or whatever you call it. Carolyn participated and I participated in it regarding the fact that insurance companies, homeowners insurance companies have either refused to or refused to insure historic homes or have raised the rates for historic homes. And lots of people have been contributing to this, some with many postings, some with fewer postings about this issue. It seems to me it's something, you know, that all of us interested in historic preservation should be aware of. And I would hope that somebody, and I was sort of hoping that somebody either in Preservation Massachusetts or at the Mass Historical Commission would be taking on the role of informing state leadership. I think somebody said they were gonna get in touch with their state, senators and their representatives, but also maybe even Secretary Galvin, as head of the Mass Historical Commission or something, or somebody, or the insurance industry, whoever regulates the insurance companies should be aware of this anyway, and the legislature should be aware of this. It seems to be a big issue all over the place. I noticed it when our insurance was not renewed by one company, it was then renewed by a different company. So it's not as though we don't have insurance, but this does seem to be a big issue, and I just sort of bring it up because some of you perhaps don't read these things and should be aware of that, and maybe somebody should be in touch with the state leadership and somebody on the state level.
Is there a bill going through or being looked at about this or not?
No, I don't think.
No, okay,
There was another bill that was causing a lot of, having to do with whether historic districts could be overridden by some other things. Since we didn't have any historic districts, I haven't paid close attention to that part of it, but all of a sudden there was a lot of chatter on the whatever you call it, listserv, the Mass Historical Commission, and then lots of people were contributing to that, so I thought I would mention it, just informational purposes for us. I know we have faced that issue, we were denied insurance by one of our insurers, and then they found somebody else to do it, but, you worry about that, I mean.
It happened to your neighbor
right.
on Foster Street as well, the Wilsons.
Did they find insurance?
They found someone that they were initially dropped, so.
Yeah, it's definitely a big issue, yeah.
Yes.
And other people have had their insurance, the premium increased a lot.
Right.
Hmm.
Any other public input at this point?
I had a couple things.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking earlier about John Ledger. I was wondering should we do something like have him recognized by the select board? Or at least if, someone here goes up through public input, because I did look him up and he was on the commission for like 20 years. That's a long time, so it just seems like,
Yes.
I don't know whether he would go, like if the select board did it and if he went, you could, give him a little certificate. I'm not sure if he would or not. And then maybe just to do it to public input, but I don't know. I found the dates that he was on the board. And I don't mind helping, like trying to pull some stuff out of like the town reports when he was on, just, to say, I don't know what you say, but during John's tenure, this is what was accomplished. I'll help with that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
It just seems like 20 years should be recognized.
Did they do like days of recognition?
I don't think so.
But they do them at the start of the meeting, because the one that Linda presented at, they had the fencing coach.
Do they do that often or is that unusual?
I don't know.
So I think when Jim Pickard resigned or retired from the Conservation Commission, because he'd been on that for 25 years, I think they did a little, it's nothing big, it's just, you could talk to Karen Morrison and see what's appropriate, or Jim, or the TA's office.
I definitely support that. I also think that we should have an unofficial dinner in John's honor.
Yeah.
Some evening, local.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think,
And then I have one other thing, I don't know about funding these days, but the Mass Historical Commission has the survey and planning grant. I didn't know if, that's the one where we put more houses on Macris on the inventory. I'd be willing to help with that too, if they have one this year. I mean, I don't know.
To do a survey or to do
Yeah,
something
Well,
else?
it's for the grant to put more houses on. in
So we would
Macris.
hire a consultant to do that?
Yeah, so that, what happened last year was the letter of intent was due in November, the full application was due in February, and it's awarded that March, so
So November is the letter of intent, and then what's next?
the full application deadline
When?
would be in February, if it follows what was done last year.
And that was in the full application.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought of this, but deadlines just are like right on, I don't think of it until the deadline's right on top of us.
And
Yeah.
I can update that spreadsheet I have with what we have now, so we can see what properties we have left.
Okay,
But we'll see, they might never be able to offer it this year either, who knows? But, I don't know, and I don't know, since I asked that, I figured I'll help with it too, if you need help.
When was our last one? 2018?
What?
When was our last one?
2018, I think,
So,
yeah.
yeah, pre-pandemic.
wow, true. Well, in 7 years. several properties have now aged, so.
Yeah.
There's a gap.
Anything else?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. I have somewhat of an update on the Durkee property. As you know, it's owned by the Affordable Housing Trust. I got some updates via email from the Affordable Housing Trust. They didn't exactly answer, well, they don't know yet is basically what's going on. So what I asked them, I told them that we, the Historical Commission, had a discussion at our last meeting about the Affordable Housing Trust possibly paying back the CPC payment for the Durkee house. And we understand why the Housing Trust might want or need to do that. However, some Historical Commission members were concerned that this might set a precedent for future CPC projects, such as historical projects, that is removal of CPC status and thus protection. I also said, is the Affordable Housing Trust definitely planning to pay back the CPC money? And now thinking of keeping the house and land and replacing the house with new affordable housing or selling the house and land, what are their plans? So the response I got was the only new Durkee development is insurance has been renewed. That's liability insurance, not property insurance. Then beyond that, he said the house is a complicated problem. Splitting off the house would probably include the barn just because of proximity. Then the barn is hard to develop because of septic. The CPA law is difficult in terms of what is allowed with CPA money on non-CPA purchased property. From his point of view, the simplest thing is to replace the house with something new, perhaps keeping the facade or another historic token. That's harsh, but it's in bad structural condition, and fixing it would cost 2 to 3 times new construction. The Housing Trust's intention is to have all affordable units there. What we'll decide is somewhat dependent on what responses they get from the RFP. So they either have or will be issuing an RFP for some developer in collaboration, I think, with an Affordable Housing Trust consultant to develop the property. So that's the response I got.
Very discouraging.
Yeah.
Well, I think I mentioned this before, that the project was always sort of incongruent. And I actually saw an article, I'm gonna send it to everyone, but it was New Hampshire specific, but Kelly Ayotte recently signed a new law that created a non-profit company that can accept donations and try to bridge the gap between market and affordability for developers, because New Hampshire has 0 developers that are interested in building affordable housing projects because they just don't work with the market. So we have the challenges of a town without affordable housing, finding how to have affordable housing, and then the donated property is a historic home and needs rehabilitation. So you have rehabilitation, you have affordable housing, and then you have sub-market rates. So you have a massive gap there.
Right.
It's really
It's
unfortunate.
not true that we don't have affordable housing in town. We are actually over the requirement.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know that there was that proposal for the town hall, and it seemed like the town had some estimates that we were maybe not this moment, but heading towards being under providing affordable housing. I don't know.
But this didn't pass, did it?
It did not pass. No.
No, it didn't pass.
I don't think, Carolyn,
Well,
do you
there's
know
like two
this?
right, there's what Marinol calls capital A affordable, and because this was supposed to be deeply affordable.
Right, there's a difference.
And I think there's a difference.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know.
It's just about impossible to build what you might call deeply affordable, whatever they want to call it. It's just about impossible to build that without, without somebody's subsidy.
Right, yeah, it has to be a nonprofit with almost like land given to you, which I think. is-
Somebody subsidizing it or something. On the other hand, affordable housing is more possible.
Yeah, so did we find out when the property was purchased? It was purchased through the affordable housing fund of the CPA and not the historic
Correct,
fund of the
correct.
CPA.
right, yeah. I believe they spent $100 for it. Right, it was not us, it was the Affordable Housing Trust. So it doesn't sound great. I understand their dilemma, because I have attended several of their meetings, because we thought, we would move forward with historic stuff, but I do understand their needs. On the other hand, when we were looking into this, when this first started, we found some other sites in Massachusetts that made it work. Remember, we found,
Yeah.
I forget where they were, but I shared them with this group. I shared it with the select board.
Yeah.
In Westford, they're making it work. I don't know what the difference is.
In your letter, it said it was a structurally poor condition.
That's what, in the notes, yeah. Well, it is, it's in bad condition. There's no, you were there, weren't
It
you?
was, I
Yeah.
didn't think it was structurally poor condition.
Well, there
I mean, it
are,
needs work because,
there are issues. That front part where
sure,
they put plywood, there's like no floor, and they put some
well,
sort
it's
of,
over 100 years old.
yeah. Anyway, is there anything else that you want me to ask them or talk to them, or just keep a tab, should I just keep tabs on what they're
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think just keeping.
All right,
I'd be interested to hear,
Yeah.
that property survey, right? Isn't it survey?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hmm.
so, the RFPs are important and, that, would, a demolition delay or demolition application would come across our table.
Right, right. But I think I should keep in touch with them, with the Affordable Housing Trust, before that point comes.
I'm interested in what the RFPs. come.
Yeah, we should be able to look at that, I would think. Yeah,
I mean, if they're gonna tear everything down, it was sort of silly for them to require it in the first place. I mean,
well,
I mean, I guess they didn't realize that they'd have to tear everything.
well, I think they had some good intentions up front to try to rehabilitate it. And they don't have, they're concerned that it may not be viable now, I think, now that they have some input from a affordable housing consultant. I think they think it's not that viable monetarily.
Well, they got the land though too, Jonathan, right? So the property was $100, which included the land for which it sits, which is below market rate for land.
A little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. On a less depressing note, the orchard, an update on the orchard barns, or actually, yeah. So Shanti and I went out there with, oh man, Eric, I think his name was, he's the facilities manager for the town, nice guy. And he showed us we looked at the exterior as well as the interior of the two barns, the big barn, the brown one, and the nice looking white one a little further down. And it was, informally, Shanti and I both thought they're historic. There were some really cool inside features, old beams,
Oh,
peg and whatever you call it. What is it? You know what I'm talking about.
Mortise and tenon?
yeah.
Yeah, mortise and tenon.
With pegs, yeah.
Yeah, mortise and tenon. So she's gonna write up her notes and she's gonna get her photos all together. I believe she's gonna write up a Macris form for the two barns. We already have the main house in Macris for the exterior. And she and I and anyone else who wants to will work on writing preservation restrictions for the two barns and the house. That's another CPC project that we got funding for, so that's good news.
So there is a plan now for somebody to take over
The lease,
the orchard,
so they have someone film, if I'm filling whatever I leave out or whatever, they have somebody, Branson, is that his name? I can't remember. He already has a lease in place, right? I think so.
oh,
And he is using one of the barns, not both of them, he's using the main big brown barn. And he's leasing a certain percentage of the acres, I forget how many acres. He's gonna be doing a lot of container farming. plants and trees or whatever in containers.
Oh,
Yeah, and he's also going to try to preserve some of the trees, if, not all of them, because they're in bad shape, they're diseased, but some of them, especially the perimeter along the roads. And he does seem to have a stake in sustainability. He seems to be concerned about sustainability and ecological protection, so that's already in place. Okay, anything else on the orchard? I'll keep you posted as to, when Shanti writes up her documents. So we are, we are planning to write preservation restrictions for the house, probably one or both of the barns. We'll have to see what she says. Historic marker plaques, there is a little bit of progress. I submitted finally 4 of the plaques to the manufacturer that we discussed. I held back the Neshoba Praying Indian Town one, I think it was, because I haven't heard back. I've asked the Neshoba for Indians for some feedback if they want to change the text at all from what we haven't heard back. So I'll try to contact them again. And then for the Porter Road Bridge one, Chris is going to try to refurbish the one that's there. So I didn't submit that for a new plaque yet to see what happens with Chris. Were you able to get it off, or is it impossible to get the old one off?
I showed up with the wrong tools, so I
Yeah.
have to go back and try again, but I thought it was gonna be bolted on or something, but it's just sort of like just glued on.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so I have to try and get it off without harming it.
It's epoxy, I bet.
Yeah, epoxy, I can see it around the edges, so
Yeah.
I just gotta bring a different.
Do you have to take it off, or can you, what were you gonna do with it? You were gonna sand it down? Or-
Yeah, I was gonna try and sand it down and make the letters pop a little
Yeah.
bit more, but I mean, I don't know if you guys wanna change the wording on it either.
We're okay with the wording.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I can try and do something on site, or I might bring it back and try and do some.
It may be easier to sand it in place.
I was
than
just
to
thinking that.
Yeah,
pry it out of that granite rock.
yeah, I might try that.
Okay, great. Well, keep us posted. Thank you for being willing to try that.
Yeah. Rock slide.
So there's really not too much else. I have historic district on here because we should think about it. We know there's challenges.
can I?
Yeah,
We talked about the markers, but then we were also talking about the house plaques. And the different woods and how much they would cost and so on. So, and do we want to, and I was thinking, do we want to proceed with that? I'd be happy to work with Chris on that. Sort of, I have lots of experience working with somebody else, and if there's somebody here that we can work with, that would be fabulous. And,
Yeah.
so what do we want to do?
So the piece of cedar that I got can make probably 6 signs. Cedar is really expensive, so for a cedar sign, it would probably be anywhere between $110 and $120 a sign, just because of the cost and it's a lot more preparation and everything, but the cedar sign is gonna last a lot longer than
It's not that much more expensive than what we were paying before, particularly because apparently what we were paying before was really under the value of what somebody told me, well, that guy was, he was an old guy and he was just sort of doing it and he was really unsustainable what he was paying. And that was for signs that weren't cedar.
what were they?
MD.
Pine, I think, or something.
You think they were pine? What do you think?
It's something called MDO, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that what they were?
Were they that? I'm not sure.
I don't know if those are the old ones. I mean, MDO is a really good external grade plywood, but it is plywood,
Yeah,
MDO.
I don't think we were using plywood. I think whoever, was this guy, what's his name again?
Do you have any signs that, old signs that you could show
I
Chris?
should have brought mine, the one that's on my barn.
Well, there's lots of signs all over the place, and there's signs on
So
the,
what is it made of, do you know, or?
So it's that MDO and.
Oh, you think that's MDO
Yeah, mine was, I think 5 years ago I got mine and,
from us?
yeah,
So it's
Ah.
MDO, we think.
yeah, for the quarantine station, one of the barns. And so I looked at it the other day, I just went up closer to it and you can see it starting to crack and, you know, it's definitely, probably not the type of wood you want to use, you know, just for, I think the cedar is just gonna last a whole lot longer.
yeah, why, I mean, I would go for cedar, I mean, I don't know. People who are ordering, there's not a lot of people, but the people ordering signs probably would be prepared to spend a little bit more money for something that we can.
Yeah.
Can promise, and you wanna, I mean, I have a couple of people got in touch with me ages and ages ago, and we were sort of talking about it. And then the guy who was doing our signs died, and I wasn't able to go on with that. And then, to be honest, I sort of dropped the ball a bit. But now that
Yeah.
you're available, and you know, it sounds like we could get going. How about if I get back to these people and say, are you interested? Here's what the price would be, and it would be a good cedar.
Yep.
Cedar sign
Yeah.
and so on.
Make sure you have the right price from him before you.
Yeah, I mean, I will I'll email with you and
Yes.
we can talk, we can discuss that, and then I'll get to these. There were a couple of people who were interested in signs.
Okay.
So
And it
that
should be,
Western red, is that what you got?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other one that you said, I asked him about it, he said they don't even know where to get that.
Really?
It's in Concord lumber,
Oh, yeah.
and that's the only kind of cedar they had, so. So I'm preparing it now for the sign this sign,
Ah, yes, for 12 Robinson Road, yeah.
so by the next meeting I should have it.
Cedar?
Yep.
Oh, great,
Western red cedar is good stuff.
thank you.
Yep.
And my understanding is you're doing it for free so that we can all.
Yeah, I just wanted you guys,
Make
I
sure-
can bring that one in, I can bring the one from my barn, so you can see the difference.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, that'd be great,
So, yeah.
yeah.
okay, I will contact you about this, and as I say, there were a couple of people who were interested, and then I sort of dropped the ball. One of them, I mean, it could certainly afford it, one of them was, oh geez, now I forget. Oh, God, getting old. The guy who's a selectman who lives on Robinson Road, what's his name again?
Jeff Yates?
Yates,
He's on the planning.
planning,
Yeah.
excuse me.
That's right. And-
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was actually I was dealing with his wife, but you know, anyway. But he's an architect, so he should really like to have a good cedar, you know, proper cedar sign. And then there was the sort of this new couple, they're not so new anymore, but the ones who moved right across from you, across from the Historical Society on King Street.
Oh, yes.
They have a little kid, or maybe two little kids, and then doing all sorts of little cutesy things in their front yard. That's a tricky property, though. Anyway, I'm glad that somebody's
Yeah, it's
taking
good.
care of it.
So Chris, when you join our commission, I don't know if when you fill out your paperwork, did you declare a conflict of interest?
No,
Probably need to, because once you're on the commission,
right,
if we are buying signs through your business, that would be an apparent conflict of interest if it's not disclosed.
got it.
So you may get to revise your application.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, so
Yeah.
I'll look at it, yeah.
Okay. So Historic District is on the agenda, but you know, we don't usually talk much about it, but it is an issue. We know there's challenges. The only thing I want to say tonight is Elizabeth, the new person who will be at our next meeting, I believe. She has had some experience working with historic districts, I think.
Oh, excellent.
So that might help us move forward perhaps. So,
That's exciting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I know there's been some, I mean, first of all, I haven't pursued it more. Second of all, I know, and Rachel has mentioned this, that the Wilsons have had some questions about it. I don't know if they said absolutely no, but.
Well, it was the topic that you brought up earlier, the home, or the home insurance policy, they got dropped because they had a sign on their house and they said it was in a historic district, and then when the Wilsons said, no, it's not, they, proved it, the insurance company said, it doesn't matter.
But our house was dropped. And, because we're on Macris and everybody is on Macris, so if that's gonna be the criteria,
Yeah, insured, like it happens, but I think that was just the one,
Yeah.
yeah.
if that, and I don't know if it's always been the same company or if it's one company has this policy, like I don't know.
I think it's been a lot of companies, because as I say, there's been a lot of emails into this,
Obviously, again, there are other historic districts in the state, people in those, like, people have policies, so.
yeah.
But I do know that was a concern if they might get A, dropped again, or B, if prices for insurance will go up. So
Mm.
things to consider of where there might be pushback.
Right, and it's a problem, and as I say, I've had that problem too. The thing I worry about is, the way it is now, I don't think any of those people are gonna do anything really terrible with their houses. I mean, if you look and see, everybody's doing even really nice things. I mean, the houses on Foster Street are being maintained very well, better than they've ever been before. The thing that worries me is if somebody, for some reason or other, decides to sell their house and it's bought by a developer or something like that, then you never know what might happen.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
It might be torn down or
Yes.
some other, catastrophe like that.
It wouldn't, because to your point, they have been well maintained. So I would hope, but I think that is why the augulars, the augulars, I thought they were,
Mhm.
That's why they've gone through the effort, because they do have a lot of land. I don't know how much land each of these properties has, but they have like 6 acres on their.
The old years, you know.
Yeah, the old years. So I know that was their onus to get the deed restriction on their house.
They're on National Register, is that what they did? Or what did they do? No, they just got a deed restriction through,
Historic New England.
Historic New
Yes.
England.
Yeah,
Is that what it is, a preservation
I
restriction?
think.
Well, they did the
Yeah.
thing where they sold their house, into conservatorship.
Oh,
Right, so,
Okay.
but they had a significant amount of land that came with that house, and I don't know if all the other proproperties would have that. I mean, I would.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
Right,
I
and
mean,
that-
I was talking with
Expected.
one woman on our street who said that, that she had like 4 acres or something.
Mhm.
And it was some developer who wanted to develop it
Mhm.
because, you could do that, but she said, oh, I wouldn't.
but there's no
I-
protection, someone could sell
There
it
is
to the
no
developer,
protection.
that's the
I think-
issue.
I think the area that, we came close would be, with the pastor. And the fact that he could have, not to say that that is a historic district, but I'm just saying, historic districts' role for us are really in planning, right? And it's the same way the planning board decides zoning, right? It's our ability to enforce some sort of zoning, and in the case of the pastor, if he had, torn down the house at the road and replaced that with a very modern metal structure, it would show, a different appearance in that part
Absolutely.
of town. So I think that's the reason you do it. It's kind of like the same reason you have a planning board.
I mean, I am pro them on a hardline issue, yeah, on principle, I'm pro them, but dealing with them is the worst.
Yeah, I hear you. your experience.
Pro on principle.
But you know, lots of other towns have historic districts. It's not,
I actually saw.
It's not
and I haven't
impossible.
found it.
No.
There is so many in Massachusetts.
yeah, there
There's
are,
literally only a few towns, I know.
like us, who don't have them.
Yeah, that don't have a single one.
Right.
I mean, maybe that is an argument, maybe if you could get more of the people on Foster Street who can come forward and say, I've been approached by developers. You know, if we don't do this, then that's more likely to happen. I don't know that that story is necessarily, that narrative is maybe not getting out there as much. And that, you know, God forbid it gets left to a child that doesn't care and just wants to make money, like it could go awry. So I understand obviously where the concerns are from. And I also understand even for some of the people on the street, if they might feel like we put in the effort to make, you know, to keep our house, we shouldn't have to be told what to do. They're very good with self-governance, I feel like, on that road. But, you know, if we could, you know, more of the existential crisis of, okay, but.
Yeah, there is always, I mean, that's the thing that, so, I mean, again, when we lived in Pepperell, there was this lovely federal house right across the street from the town hall. And it was owned by a doctor and his wife, and his wife was very prominent as an author and illustrator of children's books. And they had this lovely house that they had, you know, kept up in beautiful shape. And, you know, by any account, you would have figured, okay, that's undoubtedly gonna be preserved, and how can anything go wrong? I don't understand why, but some guy, everybody said he got his money from drug dealing or something. What do I know? Everybody said he got his money from drug dealing, bought that property, totally gutted it, totally took off all the features that, I mean, it was a shell, it was left as a shell, so it remained, and built this gingerbread kind of thing with all kinds of fancy stuff. I mean, you know, it looked like something from, I don't know, Newport or something. You could have said with a stable and a indoor, you know, enclosed riding, you know, ring or something, whatever they call those things. And all of this super fancy, super elaborate in a town which, you know, never would have had anything like that in the past. It was just, it still is so incongruous and,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
that's.
it's that kind of thing. I mean, it can happen. I mean,
No,
how could something like this happen?
These
It
things
did.
can't happen, and that's, I mean. Yeah, I agree. It's people, things can go awry real quick, and that's why, again, on principle, I am pro historic
Yeah.
districts, but.
Well, it's
you
good
know,
to hear
it
what,
being coming to a vote, and
I think it came to a vote, it would likely pass, but you never know. I mean, because we did have a proposal for a historic district in Littleton, which got a majority vote actually at a town meeting, but you need 2/3. Now, I'm not sure you still do, but at that point anyway, you needed 2/3
That might be
vote.
looking to find out if we still need 2/3. I'm guessing yes,
we
but
need to do we need to bring it up, they need to create an exploratory committee, like, we know
yes,
that.
yes.
Right, we are many steps from
Right.
that.
Right.
Someone has to initiate the process, we
Right.
know, I feel like we've talked about this issue.
We have.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All It's okay. So maybe Elizabeth will have some insight for us. I don't know. All right, do I have a motion? Anything else before? Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
We always should choose.
Oh, the next date, yes.
Today is the night.
Mm-hmm.
13th, August 13th.
Is everyone available, August 13th?
Yes.
Chris, you available, August 13th?
So,
Okay, all right, August 13th, next meeting.
Wednesday, August 13th.
I move we adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting.